Okay guys, thanks for joining me again on another video. I'm pretty excited about this video because you're gonna see some of the other side to one of my hobbies. Just let me put that on there. As you all know and you've all seen on pretty much all my videos, this is usually attached to my my rucksack on the outside. I've had this thing for about 3 years, coming on 4 years I think. My ham radio. So this video is going to be all about radio communications for SHTF, for prepping, for when you're out and about doing bushcraft and wild camping. It's another little sideline that you can get involved in. I'm going to talk about quite a few aspects of radio communications, different types of radio. So I'm actually at RAF Prestatyn. Bit of a weird location, I know, but this is an old, abandoned, let's say, radar station, and you've probably seen the buildings already at the beginning of the video of the complex. I'm actually staying tonight, bit of an urban camp. I'm staying in the radar plinth of a Type 14 radar of the ROTOR system, so I'm going to leave some descriptions in to Wikipedia and other various websites about this site itself and this type of radar that I'm staying in. So I'm going to take you outside and we'll have a look outside. It is really windy today and really cold as well. It's pretty sharp out there. I'll take you up onto the roof so you can see the mount where the radar used to be, and then I'll bring you back and we'll get cracking with the radios. Let's get out of the wind. So here we are in the base of the radar plinth. As you can see, I've got a bit of a hole where the radar used to sit, so if it does start raining, I've got a setup down there so it'll stay dry. You've got two concrete slabs here, obviously with rebar in them, and I would imagine that would be where the equipment was housed. We've got 1, 2, 3 vent holes just there. Just on the back wall there you can see remnants of electrical conduit would have run through here. I'm presuming that this would have been an earth bar. I'm not sure, but yeah, so there's my setup. There's a bit of debris in here, and obviously the obligatory graffiti where you get everywhere, these kind of places. So just got my stove set up down there. It is a little bit breezy in here, obviously, because I've got a door and a big open space up there, and it is windy today, so I hope the wind dies down a little bit later, but I'll be okay. So the setup is just the super light tarp folded in half. Then we've got the DD Dura2 sleeping bag, self-inflating mattress, and under there green canvas cot bed kind of thing, just to top off the cot bed. So I folded it so that the edge, the opening is this side, so the edge is like folded over there, so if it does rain it may drop on this area here and run off it, so it'll keep the sleeping bag dry and what have you. Okay, so for a non-licensed radio operator, if you wanted to, let's say if you're a son and son and father or mother and daughter or whatever, you know, kind of a family situation, and you're on a campsite and you want two-way communications going, what's available to you? Well, there is radios called PMRs that work on roughly 446 megahertz. They're 8-channel ones, they're all preset. They have half a watt of power. That's the legal requirement for them. They're not allowed over half a watt. So they're kind of a generic radio. They sell them in 2s, 4s or 8s usually. You can buy them from Argos off Amazon. You don't need any paperwork, don't need a license to buy them whatsoever. Now, a lot of them type of radios, they have a theoretical range, and I've seen it a million times on boxes, and the bump that they try and sell you with these radios. I've seen it a million times that they've got a theoretical range of 16 kilometres. That is a very extortionate, to me it's a very extortionate kind of distance to put on a radio of that type. Yes, in certain conditions you can get more than 16 kilometres, but generally I've done tests with these kind of radios in the past and I've struggled to get 2 miles. At best, that is. So yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking them because I've used them myself in the past. I find they are very good over short range, so within a mile. So if you're on a very large campsite, one of you is at one end, the other's at the other end, that's fine. If you're in a woodland situation or you're wild camping, the ranges that are involved between the pair of you is, you know, we're not talking great distances. We're not talking the distances that you can achieve with ham radios. So that's PMR 446 radios. You just need to know they're called PMRs. If you know, in your search engines, if you put that in, I'm sure it's going to throw something at you. Commonly known as walkie-talkies. Like I say, they are preset. They've got 8 channels. I'm not going to go into all the details of, you know, what you can do with these radios with the different, you know, codings and all that kind of thing, because I don't want to blind you all with science. So generally, a walkie-talkie is pretty good if, you know, if there's a few of you, like I say, short distance, a few of you, or even just 2 of you, a radio each. They're absolutely brilliant for that. That's all about the radios that are available to people that are non-licensed. I would strongly urge anybody that's interested in radios to take a license. There's 3 licenses available. There's the Foundation, which you need to do the other 2 licenses. The Foundation allows you to work on 10 watts. It allows you to use repeaters. It allows you to do Sstv, which we'll get into in a little bit. All sorts. But it does limit you to a set frequency range within the bands. Now, I'm not going to blind you with science, but that's just a quick overview. Then there's the intermediate license, which I am, which allows you to use 50 watts of power, 50 watts of power. You get a larger frequency range to use, and over the set bands, so you get more room to play with. And at that stage, you are licensed to build transceivers, which is a radio transmitter and receiver. For the Foundation license, you don't need to do a practical part of the exam. For the intermediate, you do. You have to demonstrate that you can solder or something similar to that, and you have to demonstrate that to the examiner. Now, and then there's the full license, which we won't get into, but it just means that you can use 400 watts of power. You can use your radio in a marine situation, so on sea, and it allows you to take your radio and use it internationally. The intermediate license doesn't allow you to do that. That's just one of the stipulations. Right, so how do you gain your license? Well, first of all, join a radio club. I'm sure if you search by Google, there'll be one in your area somewhere. You cannot gain your license contrary to popular belief, you cannot gain your ham license online. You can do some research, you can do some mock exams online, but you physically cannot take your license, you can't go for the exam online. So the way to do it is join a club, join a radio club, and there'll be people around that will take you through the booklet that you need to study for your license. Then when you've studied the book and done some theory work, when you're comfortable, and only when you're comfortable, they won't force you to do it, there's no time limit. When you're comfortable, then you'll be able to sit the exam. This is just as at school, exam conditions, no conferring. They'll tell you about if you make a mistake on the exam paper, how to deal, how to rectify it, and then at the end, I think it's about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, something like that. I can't particularly remember because it's like 3 years ago since I did mine. So after you've obviously done the exam, you submit the paper to your examiner that's in the same room as you. You all leave the room because there'll be probably more than you doing it. I think there's about 6 people in my exam when I was doing it. You leave the room and then you're called in one by one to see if you've passed it or not. You can't start using your radio there and then as soon as you've passed. What needs to happen is then you need to be allocated a call sign, and Ofcom will do that through the Radio Society of Great Britain. All your paperwork gets sent off, then Ofcom will assign you a call sign. So I mean the exam, the foundation exam, there was a 12-year-old lad doing it in my when I sat it, and he passed with flying colours. Like I say, and then that's your foundation licence. You're sent away, you can play with your radio once you've got your call sign, you can make some contacts, you can use echo links so you can talk all around the world. So yeah, it opens up a bit of the radio world to you, and then you can progress if you want to an intermediate or a full licence. Now the full licence, I see in the book it's about that thick. You have to have a very good knowledge of radios, transceivers, all the different components that goes into building what is absolutely mind-blowing. So I never went that far. I just went up to the intermediate stage. So I passed my intermediate licence about, like I say, about 3.5 years ago. And as soon as I had my call sign, that was it, I was off. Let's take a look at the first contact that I had with this same little radio. First contact I had. Now bearing in mind this video, when I was filming it, wasn't designed to go on YouTube ever, so I've kind of slid it in there, and it'll let you guys know the first contact. And it's a conversation that I picked up between 2 Americans, and I was using what's called Echo Link, and I'll explain that when I come back.
And all that kind of good stuff, then the grandkids come. But it's a good thing. My wife looks forward to the grandkids, We had my grandson over yesterday.
118.
He told us how hungry he was, I have to tell you how that worked out. But anyway, life goes on. Listen, George, I'm going to have to step out of here for a moment, and I don't know where you are. So good conversation, and we'll try to catch up with you another day. And thanks for that information with the DMR radio. I'll put my nose in the computer and look at it a little closer. WB2 USA. Drive carefully, George. 7-3. John, good talking with you, and go do what you got to do, and we'll catch you down the log. And we're just dropping into the Clinton hole here, so my signal's probably going to get a little iffy. KB3WTQ, be listening. I should be a little better now. You got to put 1,000 watts behind that and swim gear.
Right, so you can imagine what I felt like at that point. I just, literally, I think it was that morning when my license came through the post, and I was like, right, let's do something. So what I used, you've noticed there, it said Conway. Oh no, sorry, you noticed on the screen it said Colwyn. Now in Colwyn Bay, which is close to where I live, there isn't anymore, I don't think it's still active, but there's something called Echolink. Now what that means is there's an aerial on a building, the precise location I'm not sure of, but what happens is when I use my radio, it'll send the radio frequencies through the air to the other antenna, and then through a series of equipment, usually a computer, it will connect to the internet, and then it'll go wherever in the world it's going, and at the other end there's another aerial, the same as what I've been using. So there's an aerial for their Echolink at the other end, and for people to use that. I hope that explains it a little bit. Yeah, so I was overjoyed to see, to hear people from the other side of the world, really, and just listen to their conversation, and it gives you a little bit of an idea of what people talk about as well. I'm not sure if them two contacts knew each other, but it kind of sounds like they did. So yeah, that's the first contact that I ever received. Now, when that happened, that was it. I had the bug for ham radio, and I wanted to learn more, and I made various pieces of equipment. I had a Radio Shack at one time as well. So the next big contact that I had was listening to Tim Peake on the International Space Station. Again, with this radio, not with this aerial, I had to home build an aerial, which you'll learn about when you do your licenses. You'll learn about how to build aerials. So I had to make a Yagi aerial out of, I think it was 2 tent poles and a couple of coat hangers, bit of wire and the right connections to match up with the radio. And so let's, again, please excuse the poor quality of this video. This is me and my mate Brian. We was just before we started working, actually it was, in the morning. We went onto the balcony of one of the chalets where we used to work, and I was waving the aerial in the air, holding the aerial, while Brian had the radio in his hand. Now don't forget, the ISS is going through space at a phenomenal rate, and it's also tumbling as well as it goes. It just flies in a straight line. So I was trying to track it with the aerial, not knowing precisely where it is in the sky, and it fades in and out a little bit, this next video. So I have chopped up a little bit to get rid of some of the which we call static noise, and in order to be able to listen to the International Space Station, you need your squelch right off, so you will get that static noise. So let's just have a look at that next video now.
Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Sierra, recommend to backup channel Charlie 6, over, Charlie 6, how copy, over.
That's in. Yeah.
Hello, Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Alpha November, this is Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Sierra on Charlie 6, so you can have clear, over.
I've only got me one side of it.
I'd like to think that great question, and yes, you're absolutely right. The liquid, the intermolecular forces in a liquid, the cohesion is stronger than the adhesion to the air, and so it would form a big hydrocarbon, a liquid hydrocarbon. Good morning, Jamie. Great question. A helium balloon.
I think that might be it.
It's going at somewhere 24,000 miles an hour or something, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so with this radio, I wasn't limited, I still am, to VHF and UHF, So I went on to buy a bigger radio, which is a Yaesu FT817ND, I think it was. Better, very much better radio than one of these. It opens up more bands to you, allows you to do more things because it's not just about radio communication in the ham world. Well, it is, but we can send pictures and what have you. I'll get into that in a little bit. So obviously I've got this radio. It's quite expensive. I think it was about £350. Then I had to make a power pack to power it, which is a 12 volt battery, basically. So I went up the hillside with that, one of the hills, local hills, and set it all up. I had a roach pole with a piece of wire running up it as my aerial, 2 ground planes, and let's see how far I managed to get with them contacts, with that radio.
4 and 4, 44, 45, over.
Just doing a little bit of QRP portable work. There's the mast. So Matt Hayes fishing pole, 6 metres, a bit of wire running up the side of it. We've got a couple of ground plane wires running out to the side. There's the radio, auto tuner. Had quite a few contacts so far. Just on the HF bands now. Trying some worldwide stuff.
You're 5 and 5, 55, and I won't keep it. I have to move. Kilowatt 2, Japan, Mike Yankee. My name is Ted. Tango, England, Denmark, and I'm in the state of New York. Over.
There you go. Got New York. I don't know if I'll be able to get through to him though.
QSL. I'm going to say 73 because I gotta meet somebody up Japan. So thank you
he's
very
going off
much.
the air.
I'll be back maybe later on. Kilowatt 2, Japan, Mike Yankee, and New York clear.
New York's gone clear. Right, so if that, you know, it was opening up a whole new world again to me. So if you are thinking about getting into ham radio, there's more than just, like I say, audio communications. There's something called Sstv, and this is an audio signal that comes into your radio and then gets decoded by some software, and you're able to send picture postcards. I'll give you an example of how it sounds, how a Sstv sounds coming through your radio, and the type of picture you can expect to see. So the next thing that is really eerie that I kind of got into was listening to number stations. Now, number stations, we don't actually know what they are. There's a theory that they are kind of looped audio recordings played through a radio from left over basically from the Cold War, and it's believed that some of these sounds, some of these voices, some of these numbers, as you'll hear in a second, are believed to be coded transmissions for agencies working, secret agents working abroad. Now, for this next little clip, I'm going to give you, I'm going to let you listen to four different number stations, but I've kind of merged them all together. And just to go along with the theme, because I didn't want to just play some audio and have nothing for you to look at. So I thought what would be fitting was a couple of years ago, I actually visited Hat Green nuclear bunker, which is open to the public, and it's a Cold War nuclear bunker that was operational at one time. It's pretty much, you know, it's kind of a museum now, but there are parts of it that still work. They've still got backup generators and things there that still work away from the public eye. So it's called Hat Green. Now, Margaret Thatcher actually did something there to do with the Belgrano, something to do with the Falklands War. Can't remember exactly what, but she actually was there in her, you know, when she was in office. She actually visited this place before it became open to the public. So if you ever get the chance, it's near Knutsford in Cheshire. If you ever get the chance to go and visit that nuclear bunker, it's a great day out. It's quite cheap to get in as well. I think it's under £5, free parking, all that kind of thing. And you'll learn so much about not only how bunkers kind of work, but nuclear war, the effects of nuclear war. And there's even something that the kids can go around and spot the mice, and then they get a prize if they spot them all or something like that. Yeah, so go and check that place out. It's really good day out. So we're waffling again. So let's get on with this. Pay attention to the audio rather than watching the video. These are just some clips I put together when I visited there recently.
5, 8, 2, 5, 8, 2, 5, 0, 0, 0, 8, 2, 5, 8, 2, 5, 8, 2.
Right, so that's just a few of the things, a few things that open up to you as you progress and learn more about radios using your license. It's a fascinating hobby to get into. Like I say, you can take it while camping with you. You can take it when you do a bit of bushcraft. If you've done everything around camp and all your admin and you've had your tea, then if you're twiddling your thumbs, you've got nothing to do. One great thing to do is have a play with your radio, which I do very often, but it's not always on video. So I wanted to do make this video specifically all about the radios and the communications. Now in the morning, in this area, there's something called the Sausage and Scouse network, and it's run by a guy called Bill, and when he's not available, someone else runs it on his behalf. It runs 365 days a year. They're always on air, and it's always at roughly the same time. Between 10 and half past it usually starts, and it usually goes on for an hour, and you get contacts from all over the UK. Now, I'm going to be tuning into the repeater that's close to me, which it runs out of, which is called MP. It has got a number as well, but I can't remember the number off the top of my head. But it's affectionately known as Miss Piggy. It moved to Denby, and it's now housed in Prestatyn, somewhere in the BT complex, which you can't get access into. The repeater is somewhere on one of their masts. I'm not quite sure where. So yeah, I'll be tuned into to the Sausage and Scouse network, and I'll be and then I can show you exactly how you kind of communicate when you're using ham radio. Right, so I'm going to bring you a little bit closer. We've lost light. The lamp is now on, the LED lamp is now on, as you can tell. We're losing light rapidly now, and I wanted to do this bit, while we still had daylight, but hey ho, that's how videos go. Right, so I'm going to bring you for a closer look at what's in this bag. This is mainly to do with prepping, standalone kind of systems. So let's bring you in for a closer look. Right, okay, so I'm going to take you through a bit of the gear that I've got. So First of all, we've got an earphone, a security style earphone and microphone. It does have a push to talk button on it. So that just plugs into the side of your radio. Obviously the earpiece goes in your ear and you're able to listen to and communicate that way. I have a few books. Obviously I've got the manual in case I need to program it manually, and all this is kept in Ziploc bags. This book is a list of all the frequencies of repeaters in the United Kingdom. Pretty much all of the main cities are in there. Not every single repeater's there, but pretty much all the main ones are in there. This is a waterproof notepad that I keep all this stuff in all together. And then we've got a little notepad. In the bag we've got pen and pencil sharpener and a pencil, and a little notepad if you need to write down any kind of call signs or notes, that kind of thing. So let's get rid of that. Next of all, we've got a dummy battery which takes 6 AA batteries. You cannot charge this up, it's just like kind of a dummy battery pack. You can put that onto your radio, bang, away you go, if you've got a supply of AA batteries. That's just mainly my backup one. So next of all, we've got this little battery that came with the radio itself. This is a 1800 milliamp one. I'm not sure of the rating of this big one that I've got on, but you can buy them aftermarket. That one makes the radio a little bit smaller, this one. So yeah, that's just again a spare battery. I've also got a spare aerial there as well. So next of all, we've got a few wires to go through. So basically we've got this thing which has crocodile clips on it. So as long as I've got a 12 volt battery, whether that be a car battery, electric fence kind of battery, any kind of 12 volt battery, I can either charge the radio or I can use the radio. So we've got crocodile clips and a cigarette or cigar lighter kind of thing you find in your car. So into that I can plug one of two things. So this cable here, you plug it into there, goes into the back of your charging unit, put that onto a 12 volt battery if you're there for long enough, and you're able to charge your radio up. Very simple stuff. If you are just making a quick call or trying to find out information, blah blah blah, whatever the situation is, you can use this thing, which is called a battery eliminator. Basically you take your battery off if your battery's dead, you slip that on, you put them crocodile clips onto your 12 volt source, and you can use your radio just as it would be normally if it had its own battery. So like I say, SHTF, you're going to find kind of 12 volt batteries in cars mainly. Don't use wagons because they work on 24 volt system, but like electric fences on farmland, sometimes you find 12 volt batteries. So these cables are absolutely, brilliant for a standalone system. The whole thing. Once I've depleted my batteries, I mean, if you can carry as many AA batteries as you want, but I've got a few in there. So yeah, the whole thing is a standalone system, and you're pretty much good to go wherever you are in the UK. Right guys, so time for tea. Just noticed there's a load of earthworms down here. So pasta is on the menu tonight. Quite a lot of it. A couple of hexi blocks. That's probably too much water, but they are. Yeah, so I'm going to do some pasta, and then I've got some chicken soup that I'm just going to thicken it up with. Put another hexi block on there, I reckon. But yeah, I've just moved it into this corner. It doesn't seem the wind doesn't seem to be as swirly in this corner. Just got a mouthful of hexi wine then. Right, good morning everybody. Last night's sleep was okay, a little bit broken. That was due to the wind mainly. Got really ferocious in the night. It's still quite windy this morning. Bit of a nip in the air as well. It got down to 6 degrees last night, which was fairly cold, and the sleeping bag performed excellently, although I did get a little bit of condensation because I'd wrapped myself in the DD tarp and it's not breathable. So I'm going to be looking at getting maybe a Gore-Tex bivy bag in the future. So yeah, it was all right. I've had a good sleep anyway, so that's that. Right, on to the bit that you've all been waiting for, is the giveaway. Just to remind everybody what's in the giveaway, I'll put a picture on the screen now. We'll just get rid of my rubbish out of here. Right, so there was 40 entrants, I think there's 40, round about that. All the names are in the bag. So all I'm going to do is give it a bit of a shake and choose one at random. And while I'm doing that, you can look at this beautiful Van Gogh behind me if you like. So let's just pick one out. Alright, we've got one. And I'll bring you in for a closer look. Let's have a look who's won. Steve Outdoors UK, number 8. So well done, mate. I'll bring you in for a closer look. Let's get this into focus. I'll have to do it with this hand. Are we in focus there? So Steve Outdoors, number 8. Right, so well done, mate. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a contact me link in the description to my website. I don't like people leaving their email addresses in descriptions. Anybody can contact you that way. So I'm going to put my link on my website to contact me. Just click the link, it'll take you to my website, to the correct page, and then you can email me, leave your details and address and all that kind of thing through there. It's all secure. So well done, mate, and thank you to everybody that entered the giveaway draw as well. I will be doing others in the future, so don't be too disheartened. Right, so we're just waiting. It's probably about 9:30 now. I'm just waiting for the repeater to heat up and get lively with chatter, and then I'll be making a contact myself, hopefully. So I'm not going to record the whole of the conversation because it probably goes on for about an hour with different contacts all around the UK. And also, coincidentally, I'll just add that you can actually listen into this repeater and this network through the internet. There's an SDR, web SDR, and it's run from Hat Green. Funny enough, that's the bunker, the nuclear bunker you've seen previously in this video. They've got a special thing, a special link between the repeater that's behind me and the internet, and you don't need a license to listen in. And I'll put a link in the description just in case you can't find it. And you can actually play around and move the actual the tuning knob, let's say, but it's like a cursor that you pull across. And I think there may be an app for SDRs as well. So yeah, you can go and listen to HF and VHF, UHF frequencies, because obviously you're not transmitting, you don't need a license, you're just listening through the internet. So right, I'll stop waffling and we'll wait for it to open up. So what I'm going to do is it's just approaching 10 o'clock now. There has been one contact on there already, so all I'm going to do is put a quick shout out and see what time the network starts. So you'll hear the process of that now. 2 Whiskey 0 Foxtrot Romeo Whiskey, 2 Whiskey 0 Foxtrot Romeo Whiskey. Any contacts? 2 Whiskey 0 Foxtrot Romeo Whiskey, 2 Whiskey 0 Foxtrot Romeo Whiskey. Any contacts? So it would seem that there's no one about at the moment. Like I say, it does start around about 10:30. So that's probably why there's no one answering at the moment.
Fox Romeo Lima. Got
So
you,
it's opened
Dave
up.
and Lloyd. I think there was somebody else as well.
2 Whiskey Zero Foxtrot Romeo Whiskey.
Go again, sorry. Sorry, a bit quick for me here. Go again.
2 Whiskey Zero Foxtrot Romeo Whiskey. Andy Bill.
Andy Bill. Not Andy Bandy, but yeah. Okay, got you. Stand by, please. Anybody else? Right, okie dokie. Yeah, good turnout this morning so far, isn't it? Including myself, it's 10. I'll tell you what,
So we've got 10
in case I've
contacts.
missed somebody out there who hasn't got through the hole. X-Ray Charlie Mike, TSE, AWW, Father Lloyd, Foxtrot Romeo Whiskey Andy, NYP, John, ODU, CJJ and JUR. Have I missed anybody? Mike Zero Charlie Echo Charlie. Good morning, Bill. Nice to hear you. Yeah, Jeffrey, I got you as well, mate. So, anybody else before I carry on?
That's the repeater. They just left the gap.
Right, okie dokie.
It's good etiquette to leave it a little gap.
Andy there, 2W0FRW.
Yes, mate.
Normally you're a pretty quick contact with us, Andy. I don't know where you are, mate, whether you're messing around on the stations or anything or other, but are you okay, Andy?
Yeah, Bill, 2 Whiskey Zero Foxtrot Romeo Whiskey returning. Yeah, I'm actually sat right under Miss Piggy. I'm at RAF Prestatyn. I camped out last night in the old radar plinth.
Oh, okay, mate. Isn't it a bit cold out there?
Well, Miss Piggy's getting battered somewhat by the wind, and yeah, it is a bit cold. 5 degrees it got to last night, mate.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, I've got 7 degrees here, 10-14 miles per hour, 69% humidity. And my stationers tell me I'm absolutely indulged in extreme heavy rain. Now, I have hardly got a cloud out there in the sky, except over the hills in the distance, which I can't see very well. They're sort of hazed out a little bit, but hardly a breath of wind, bit of sunshine, but ding-dang, golly, ging-gang-goo, is it cold? What's Brian say? Grumpy old gets. Member of the grumpy old gets.
So they also do Skype as well.
Club. Pumpkin pie is supposed to be very good, but I can't stand pumpkin. Anyway, never mind. I've never been this American thing as well. I'm surprised the dentists, to be honest, have not put a big thing in.
So it's a quick contact, and Bill's going on as he usually does.
By removing Halloween, because they go out and have you seen them? They come home with bloody great buckets full of sweets and things. I'm eating the things for about a month afterwards. Right, let's move on a little bit. Right, X-Ray Charlie Mike. Good morning, Brian. How's it been?
So we'll go around all the houses now, and everybody will get a turn to kind of speak.
What we do at our house is
With there being so many people on the net, it can be quite a few. Can get up to like 20-25 people sometimes. Also, you've got all the people on the SDR listening in at Hat Green from all around the world, basically. SDR's work. Bill's up in Cumbria, so I'm putting a contact through the Prestatyn repeater. He's in Cumbria, so that's the distance we're working on. Okay, so using repeaters, the distances involved are much greater than, say, your little your PMR walkie-talkie kind of things. So yeah, Bill's up in Cumbria. I'm obviously in Prestatyn. It does sound like we've got a bit of a nuisance contact on there as well that's bleeding over everybody, but we'll just ignore him. Ignore that station. That's what you're taught in your licence. So yeah, I'm just going to have a listen in. That's how repeaters work. Obviously we're using a network, but it'd be the same thing if you're just using a repeater to get contacts. So I'll bring you back in a little bit. We'll have a little, we'll have a bit of a break from all the chatter, and I'll bring you back in a bit.
Right, 2 Whiskey Zero, Fox Romeo Whiskey. Andy, you still there, mate?
Yeah, still here, Bill. Yeah, I've just been doing a bit of recording for YouTube, as usual. You know, I do that kind of thing. And yeah, just explain a little bit more about ham radio, and this time it's all about using repeaters and a little bit of SSTV and that kind of thing, Bill.
You're keeping yourself busy, mate. What else do you do?
Apart from that, Bill, I just work. So I do my wild camping and my bushcraft and my radios, and that's about it, mate.
Love work, and I keep saying, mate, I love work. I can watch it for hours. Right, what's Brian said? AWW. Right, thanks, Andy. God bless, mate. Well, lovely. Keep you going the way it sounds like. Right, let's back at the top of the...
Right, so
anyway, X-ray Charlie, Mike.
He's going to go all around the houses again. I'm going to get myself off this hillside because it is beginning to get really cold. I mean, I've been in it all night. I need to get home, get warmed up. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Just let me turn that down. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's enlightened you to a little bit of the radio world, communications world. Please do consider, you know, getting your radio license. You can have a lot of fun on the airways, and as this video's kind of shown you, that there's more to just analog kind of talking. By the way, this is an analog radio. I prefer analog. You can get digital radios now, which is a whole different kettle of fish. Same principle, same call signs, all the licensing conditions are all the same. It's just that it runs on a digital network rather than an analog one like this. Right, guys, that's me waffling again. So thank you very much for watching. Please, if you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing. Like this video, give me a thumbs up. As always, if you're going to give me a thumbs down, go to the shop, buy yourself something nice, come back in a better mood, give me a thumbs up. Right, guys, I'll see you all on the next video.